Hi everybody, today I'm going to be doing a Red Dead Redemption ranking video games video from worst to best. So basically, if you don't know what Red Dead Redemption is, it is a series which is basically like a western version of GTA basically. So there's 4 games in the series. The timeline spans from 1880 to 1914. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. I like those games, they're really fun. Yeah. And, I played them all. I've beaten them all. And I can't wait to rank them. It's going to be exciting. Yeah, without further ado, let's go on to the worst Red Dead Redemption game. Where is it? Found it right here. And the worst one goes to Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Now, the main reason why this is the worst one on the series is because it's not canon to the whole timeline. Basically, it's not canon to the whole story. It's just like a game you could go to mess around, shoot zombies, basically. It's kind of like Call of Duty Zombies in a way, you know, but a third-person version of it. Yeah, it has no story really, it's just fighting zombies. It's still a fun game. None of these Red Dead games are bad, but I'd say like this one's probably the most forgettable in the series, as like not much happens besides fighting zombies, and there's not really like a boss battle. You're just killing zombies, really. That's about it. And if you die, instead of getting wasted, you become a zombie, basically. And in the ending, I think, ironically, John Marston becomes a zombie because, you know, what happened in the actual game is, you know, he died. Yeah. So yeah, that's a cool twist to it. Yeah. And we got to see like the players who died in like Red Dead Redemption, the original, and in their zombie form. So that was cool, I guess. Overall, yeah, it's an okay game. I would say it's definitely the weakest of the series, as like not much really happens, to be honest. So yeah, it's not really much to talk about with Red Dead Redemption, Ultimate Nightmare. Is that what it's called? Wait, shit, that's the wrong one. No, it's Red Dead Undead Nightmare, right? Yeah, it is. That's Undead Nightmare. Okay, I didn't fuck it up. Okay. Yeah, it's Red Dead Undead Nightmare. And now the number 3 spot goes to, you see, Red Dead Revolver for the original Xbox. Now, the main reason why I'd say it's like not the best one is because like the only memorable boss battle was like the Mr. Kelly and the White House boss battles. That's about it. The main character, instead of John Marston, is a guy named Arthur Morgan, or not Arthur Morgan. Fuck, what was his name? Red Harlow. And this is the first one in the timeline, Red Dead Revolver, as it takes place in 1880, which is probably when John Marston was a kid, most likely. And yeah, it's an interesting game. I mean, the graphics didn't really age well, but who cares about graphics? You know, as long as the game's good, it's all that matters. It's a good game, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best one in the series. The gameplay, some of it didn't age well, but some of it did, I guess. Yeah. I do like that it's the first Red Dead game to have Deadeye, which became a signature of the Red Dead games later on. This was the one that pioneered it. And this was the game that started the whole series, you know? It was the game that pioneered the whole Red Dead franchise, you know? Without this game, there wouldn't be any Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Undead Nightmare, Red Dead Redemption 2. This was the game that pioneered it right here, yeah. So at the end, one of the villains dies, and also Mr. Kelly dies. Man, that boss battle with Mr. Kelly's hard as shit, you know? You need to, like, aim at exactly the right moments to kill him, basically. Otherwise, you're fucked. Which is why, yeah, this is a really hard boss battle. Even on easy mode, this is a hard boss battle, like the Mr. Kelly shit. Yeah. And, yes, it's a fun game. I do like the missions where you have to, like, shoot the bandits to, like, break into, like, one of the houses and stuff. Which is cool, I guess, yeah. Red Dead Revolver. Definitely better than Undead Nightmare, as at least this is canon and it has a plot. So yeah, Undead Nightmare did not have a plot, so that's kind of why it was not ranked that good. But I mean, yeah, this is a good game. It aged well, but some of it didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's from 2004, obviously, but it's still a decent game. It's a good game. It's definitely better than Undead Nightmare. Okay, number two. Okay, where is it? This might piss off some of you. Uh, I don't know. Like, it's a good game. It's a good game. It's actually a great game. Actually, graphics wise, I'd say this is the best one. Gameplay wise, I mean, it's good. It's great. Actually, the gameplay is still great. Definitely better than Red Dead Revolver. Now, in the beginning, in the prologue, you play as Arthur Morgan. He's the main character. And beginning, it takes place in 1899, which is around the 19th century. And yeah, the woman in the cover there is Sadie Adler. She's one of the people that accompanies Arthur Morgan on his mission to take down what was his name? Micah, I think. Because I think later on, basically, Micah turns his back on Dutch, Arthur Morgan, John Marston, etc. Also Lenny as well. So yeah, a lot of deaths in this game. Lenny dies, I think. Hosea dies. Arthur Morgan dies eventually, like later on in the prologue. He fights Micah and then loses the battle, which ultimately leads to him getting killed, basically. Well, I guess what mainly killed him was the tuberculosis, which he suffered earlier in the prologue. Who else? I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, and the ending to this game, John Marston finally avenges Arthur Morgan, which is pretty cool. As Arthur Morgan was the one who passed the torch on to John Marston earlier in the prologue. And in the epilogue is John Marston, who finishes the thing that Arthur Morgan started by killing Micah. Well, he didn't really. Well, he kind of did, but Dutch kind of weakened Micah to allow John Marston to kill Micah Bell. So yeah, there was like this collision scene in the ending where Dutch turns his back on Micah, shoots him in the chest, and then John Marston goes for the final kill, and then basically the day is saved, Micah's dead, and all those lives from like the prologue are basically avenged, basically. Lenny, Hosea, Arthur Morgan, you name it. Avenged, so yeah. Also Sean dies in this game as well. Sadie Adler, I think she survives. Charles too. Oh yeah, and they also show like which is pretty cool. They show how they built the house for Jack, Abigail, and John Marston. The house you see in Red Dead Redemption gets built in this game, and you get to actually see it, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Because this is a prequel. That's why. It's not a sequel. This is the first in the series to be a prequel. As, Red Dead Redemption was a sequel to Red Dead Revolver, as it's in the later timeline. It's actually the latest in the timeline, actually. This is like in the middle of the timeline, I guess. It's between Arthur Morgan and John Marston timeline, yeah. A little bit after Red Harlow. Red Harlow was like, 20, 30 years before, around there. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a great game. I enjoyed it. There were some funny scenes in it, not gonna lie. And yeah, it's a very enjoyable game. But the reason why it's not in my favorite game is because, it doesn't have a particular scene that I like in the franchise, or that is my favorite in the franchise. That's why. But it's still a great game. I'm not gonna lie. Highly recommend it. Yeah, great game. Definitely better than Red Dead Revolver and Red Dead Undead Nightmare. Those are not bad games too. They're pretty good, but this is way better. Come on. Yeah, and we get to introduce to Saint Denis, where basically gangsters hide out. Yeah. Not mentioned in Red Dead Redemption though. I guess because it got destroyed by then. I don't know. So yeah, this is before John Marston and Uncle unfortunately die in the series. As you know, this is before all that. So yeah, they're basically still alive by then. What else? You get to see, I guess, a young Abigail and a young Jack, I guess. And that's really it. And you get to see them travel around, which is pretty cool. And yeah, great game. Oh yeah, I forgot one more scene. It was the scene where like Dutch drowns Bronte and then feeds into the crocodiles. That was a very savage scene, I'm not gonna lie. I think the most brutal death though was one of the characters got their heads decapitated and then the horse rode and it showed the decapitated head. That was gruesome as shit, my goodness. That's something you see out of Friday the 13th or some shit. Like, what the hell? Yeah. Yeah, it's a great game. Anyways, on to number one. My favorite Red Dead Redemption game ever has to be the original. Come on. Yeah. I mean, it is technically the latest in the timeline. As, you know, we see older Jack, Abigail, and John Marston. I guess they're more mature. As they were younger in the Red Dead Redemption 2 game, you know, as it was a prequel. We get to finally see what John Marston does, you know. But we did kind of see it in the epilogue, but not as much as it is in here, basically, yeah. Now, the saddest moment of this game was probably when John Marston got killed by Edgar Ross and his gang. But this is why it's my favorite in the franchise. Because we finally get to see John Marston's son shine. We didn't get to see that in the previous, well, not the, previous games. The only previous game by then was Red Dead Revolver. I'm talking about in the previous timeline, you know what I mean? Because he was too young and stuff. Yeah, he couldn't do that. But we finally get to play as, you know, John Marston's son. You know, and then there's this I think this is the best scene in the whole franchise, in my opinion. Jack Marston avenges his father by killing Edgar Ross in cold blood. I love that scene. That's my favorite scene in the series, honestly. That scene was fucking awesome. So yeah, John Marston gets shot to death. His death was pretty gruesome. A whole gang of Edgar Rosses basically shoots John Marston until he's nothing but a cesspool of blood, basically. Also, Uncle gets annihilated by the gang as well. So Uncle dies too. And also in the, I think it was the epilogue, yeah. That one. Yeah, Abigail eventually dies. I guess from the stress of losing her husband, I guess. I guess that's why. And it takes a toll on Jack as he looks way older 3 years later. You know? He's around 19 years old in the, I'm trying to remember the ages. So, in Red Dead Redemption 2, he was 4 years old as he was born in 1895. So 1899, 1907 he was 12 years old. 1911, which was the first timeline of this game, he was 16. And in 1914 he was 19. So yeah. And I think like, yeah, what's cool about seeing Jack grow is we get to see Jack grow and then avenge his father's death, which is eventually the whole climax of the series, I guess. It's a good climax, you know? You know? I kind of wish Red Dead Redemption 2, the prequel, I kind of wish it was in this one, and Red Dead Redemption 2 would have been the events of this game. But whatever. I mean, it's still a good game. The other one, I like Red Dead Redemption 2 a lot. I think this is my favorite in the series, as you know. because Jack finally gets to shine in the series, you know what I mean? Instead of his father basically defending, you know, helping him, you finally get to see him shine, which is cool. And yeah, that's my opinion on the Red Dead games. Let me know your rankings of the Red Dead series. Yeah, I guess it would be different than mine. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Those are the timelines. So Red Dead Revolver would be the first in the timeline. Red Dead Redemption 2 would be the middle timeline. And then Red Dead Redemption 1 would be the last of the timeline, technically speaking, if we were to go by that. But, I mean, I think, like, the Red Dead games in general, they're really good, yeah. I enjoyed them a lot. They're really fun to play. Let me know your opinions on which one you think should be higher or lower on the list. Anyways, peace.